Hi, my name is Mike Geary. I'm Associate Professor of English and the Writing Center Coordinator at Bristol Community College. I'm pleased to welcome you to our Writing Refresher Workshop series that we've designed for you in this online format. The goal of this workshop is to prepare you to take the writing placement test. Each of the tests that we have here for writing placement are homegrown, meaning they're designed by the English department. We do not use an AccuPlacer, and each of them will be scored by two faculty members of the English department. Right? This video series will identify what the writing placement test looks like, talk about how it is scored, talk about the different class options that are available for you as a result of those scores, talk about what an essay is, how to manage your time during a timed essay, and we'll conclude with a final wrap-up with some final strategies for you to be successful during the writing placement test. First, let me tell you a little bit about the writing placement test itself. Each of them, and we currently have 7 in circulation, begins with a particular writing prompt. Right? First thing that we do is we ask you to read a short sample, as you can see by this one here that's written by Reed Timmer from his autobiography, and Into the Storm. The idea behind the first passage is to get you to understand a main idea or a main concept. In this particular case, he talks a little bit about what it meant to be an oddball and to be obsessed by certain things or certain hobbies that others may find unusual or bizarre. Your first step is to go through and read that carefully and to determine what the main idea is. That will usually help you to prepare for what the 2 questions are that wind up following. As you can see, there are 2 options, an option A and an option B. Both of these really ask you to think about your personal experiences, but they also ask you to consider what your understanding is of the writing placement prompt itself. You also see that it asks you to write something in a multi-paragraph format, meaning we really want you to write an essay here, as opposed to writing a single paragraph response. Now, one of the mistakes students sometimes make is they respond to both of the options. You want to make sure that you only respond to one of the options, as that's a key thing that the scorers look for in being able to assess your understanding of the directions of the assignment. I mentioned previously that these are scored by 2 members of the English department. These scorers will be scoring and reading your essays while you are taking the other parts of the placement test, the reading, the algebra, and the arithmetic, so that when you're done with all of your tests for the day, you'll know how you were successful on the writing placement test. We use a 6-point grading scale when determining your score for the essay. A 1 or a 2 on the placement test indicates that you will be placed into developmental writing, where a 3, 4, 5, or 6 indicates that you're placed into English 101. What's really important for you to remember is the difference between a 2 or a 3. Usually a 2 on a placement test is the most common score for folks who place into developmental writing. Usually these are responses that are very short, sometimes have a lot of grammatical mistakes, misunderstand the actual question that is being asked, or are just underdeveloped or too general. A 3, which is the minimum score that you need in order to place into English 101, is a basic essay. It'll have an introduction, it'll address the prompt, it'll give some specific examples, and it'll have some sort of a conclusion. Sometimes it winds up being a 1-3-1 essay that you might have learned about in high school as being the basic essay format. In the next clip, I'm going to talk a little bit about what the different options are for you to take English classes during your first semester here at BCC, from developmental coursework to college composition.
This project has been made possible by a grant from Pathways and the support of the Lash Center for Teaching and Learning at Bristol Community College.